Hello friends, the title of this video is not clickbait, and what I am covering today are formal warnings that genuinely deserve your attention. The American Bankers Association, the FDIC, and individual banks across the country have been issuing direct guidance to their customers and to seniors. These are not suggestions or loose tips. They are formal warnings backed by federal consumer protection agencies that decided to speak plainly this year. I went through all of it carefully and decided this needs to be said plainly because most people never saw these warnings or ignored them. Everything I cover today applies to anyone who receives Social Security on a card, visits a bank branch, or uses an ATM machine anywhere. That is essentially every senior in America. So watch until the end and pass this along because this information is genuinely worth having today. Before we get into it, subscribe to this channel right now and turn on the bell, and let me explain why that actually matters here. The scams I am covering today are not the same ones from 2 years ago. They are new schemes that almost nobody knows about yet. The crypto ATM scheme, the cash trap devices, and the phone tricks are all active in 2026 and documented by federal agencies this very year. What I do on this channel is track exactly this kind of information, new threats and new protections, and bring it to you in plain language. Hundreds of thousands of people rely on this channel to stay ahead of what is happening, and the ones who subscribe find out in time. The ones who are not subscribed tend to find out after the money is already gone. And honestly, that is the whole difference right there. Hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and let us get into it, because there is a lot you need to know before you walk into a bank. Let me start with something that has been escalating sharply in 2026, and that banks are actively warning customers about inside branch locations everywhere. There is a scheme circulating right now that is emptying senior bank accounts in a matter of hours, and it does not start online. It starts in person, at the ATM or inside the bank itself. And the banks are now telling seniors this directly and without any softening. The people standing near you at the ATM are not always innocent bystanders, and that is something genuinely worth keeping in the back of your mind. This year, the American Bankers Association issued a fraud alert after documented cases in Philadelphia where criminals placed physical cash traps inside the machines. It is a small device inserted into the cash dispenser slot that captures your bills at the exact moment they are supposed to come out. The machine shows the transaction as complete. You see nothing come out, you assume the machine malfunctioned, and so you simply walk away from it. The criminal removes the trap and takes your cash the moment you leave, and the whole thing happens within a matter of a few seconds. The American Bankers Association and the Secret Service have both warned about this scheme in 2026, so pay close attention to what comes next here. If you use an ATM and the cash does not come out after a successful transaction, do not walk away and stay right at the machine. Call your bank immediately from the ATM location and ask them to flag that transaction before you ever step away from where you are standing. Rule number 1 that banks are formally telling seniors: your card never, under any circumstance, leaves your own hands for any reason whatsoever. Not to a stranger offering to help, not to a bank employee outside a secured teller window, and not to absolutely anyone else at all. Here is why this matters in ways that most people never imagine, because the risk is so much larger than the average person believes. A device called a skimmer, or its newer evolution called a shimmer, reads every piece of information off your card in under 3 seconds. A shimmer is small enough to fit inside the card slot itself and reads your chip, not just the magnetic strip, and you would never notice. You would not see it and you would not feel it, and 3 seconds of someone holding your card is enough to steal everything. If you have difficulty using the ATM yourself, ask a uniformed bank employee inside the branch, never a stranger standing behind you in the line. If someone near the ATM offers to help and reaches toward your card, the best thing you can do is walk straight into the branch. Rule number 2. Your PIN is shielded every single time, without any exception at all, even when it seems like nobody is anywhere near you. The official guidance says it plainly. Cover the keypad with your other hand every single time, even if no one appears to be nearby. There are documented cases of small mirrors, cameras disguised as fixtures, and recording devices that captured pins from customers who believed they were alone. When a bank employee helps you with a transaction at a teller window, that employee is required to look away while you enter your PIN. That is bank policy and not mere courtesy. And if the employee does not look away, you have every right to say it directly. Tell them clearly, "Please turn away while I enter my PIN," because that is your right as a customer, and it is standard banking protocol. Rule number 3. Your phone stays in your own hands inside the bank, and this is the one that catches people completely off guard. It feels rude to refuse when an employee asks to see your phone to help set up an app or fix a problem with your account. You hand it over because it seems like normal assistance, but this is exactly what banks are warning you should never actually do at all. Your phone with an open banking app is direct access to your accounts, and in the wrong hands, it can be drained in moments. In documented cases, someone with the phone for 30 seconds transferred funds, added their own trusted device, or installed remote access software for control. Bank employees help by explaining what to do while you enter the information yourself, never by physically holding your phone in their own two hands. If anyone insists they need to hold your phone to assist you, ask for a branch manager, because any legitimate bank will honor that request. Rule number 4, and this is the newest and most dangerous scheme that banks flagged specifically during this year of 2026. Never, under any circumstances, withdraw cash from your bank to deposit into a cryptocurrency ATM just because some person on the line told you to. It sounds so obvious it barely seems worth saying, but the FBI reports this is one of the fastest growing frauds targeting seniors nationwide. And the people who fall for it are not naive. They are often sharp, educated, and careful, so this can truly happen to anyone. Here is how it works. You receive a call or message from someone claiming to be the IRS, Social Security, Medicare, or even law enforcement. They tell you your account has been compromised, or you owe back taxes, or your identity was stolen and your funds need protecting immediately. They sound official, they know your name, and sometimes they know details about your finances, and that is exactly what makes them so terribly convincing. They direct you to withdraw cash, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars, and deposit it into a Bitcoin ATM or a cryptocurrency kiosk somewhere. They tell you it is the only safe way to protect your money, but that supposed protection is actually the final trap to steal it. The moment you feed cash into that machine, the money is gone forever, and it cannot be reversed or recovered no matter what you do. It cannot be traced or recovered, and that is exactly what makes this scheme so utterly devastating for so many families across the entire country. Indiana became the first state to ban cryptocurrency ATMs entirely in March of 2026, and other states quickly followed that lead. Tennessee and then Minnesota did the same, and roughly 20 states have now adopted laws restricting these kiosks specifically because of this fraud scheme. The FBI reports hundreds of millions of dollars in losses from these machines, and most of the damage falls squarely on the nation's older adults. Banks are now training employees to intervene when an older customer makes an unusual large cash withdrawal that looks suspicious or out of character. In many cases, the person is on the phone with a scammer while standing right at the teller window, never realizing the true danger. If an employee asks why you are making a large withdrawal, answer honestly, because they are not being intrusive but are genuinely trying to protect you. They may be the last line of defense between you and a total loss, so trust them and tell them the truth about what is happening. The real IRS, Social Security, and law enforcement never instruct anyone to move money into cryptocurrency, not ever, under any circumstance you could possibly imagine. Rule number 5, read before you sign. And this happens inside the branch, at the desk, with a friendly employee handing you the papers. They do it at a pace that makes you feel rude to slow down. But banks are now formally telling their customers something very important. You are never required to sign anything you have not read, and it is right there in the small print where the significant things hide. Automatic credit line increases, consent to share your data with third parties, or enrollment in fee-based services you never requested at all. All of that has appeared in documents customers signed quickly without reading, which is why it pays to always slow down and review each page. If you are handed paperwork and someone is rushing you, say clearly that you need a moment to read, because no legitimate bank can refuse that. If they push back, ask for a supervisor, and if a charge you do not recognize appears, call and ask whether you signed an authorization. If you signed under pressure without understanding what you accepted, you have the right to file a complaint with the Bureau at consumerfinance.gov. One final thing worth knowing. Banks in many states are now required to offer what is called a trusted contact system for their customers. You designate a family member or trusted person whom the bank can contact if they notice unusual activity that suggests fraud or financial exploitation. That person does not control your account and cannot move your money. They are simply someone the bank can alert if something happens to look wrong. If your bank offers it and you have not set it up, it is genuinely worth considering because it is one more layer of protection for you. Here is the summary. Cash trap devices inside ATMs are an active threat in 2026, so stay alert every single time you use a machine. If your cash does not dispense, call the bank immediately from that location, and remember that your card never leaves your hands for any reason. Cover the keypad every single time you enter your PIN, and keep your phone in your own hands whenever you are inside the bank branch. Never move cash to a cryptocurrency ATM, regardless of who is asking or whatever convincing story they try to tell you to make you comply. Read everything before you sign anything, and know that slowing down is your right. And also consider setting up a trusted contact with your bank. Subscribe, share this with someone you know who receives Social Security, and I will see you in the next one because one conversation can protect them for years.